already know that networking is a lot more than just an activity, right? It's about an attitude. It's about the attitude to establish an open and an honest, authentic connection with others. It's about knowing how to assist them. And that means it requires work and it requires maintenance. So there's really nothing to be afraid of. It's just about understanding how it works. For example, that weak ties are equally important as strong ones. Let's explore it further by returning to our expert, Erwin Knut. So Erwin, I've got some final questions for you. Starting with, can you give us a couple of practical tips when it comes to networking?
Well, first of all, remember that networking requires effort. So it's up to you to really invest in your network. And I mean, that is not just sending out invitations, such as a LinkedIn request and you are connected. You can collect a lot of connections, but they are sleeping. What you want to do, really activate them. So take every opportunity to talk to people on the phone, go out for coffee, have lunch. And that way you can be able to deepen the relationship. This doesn't have to happen all the time. Even people you haven't seen for a long time, for a couple of years, have a phone call, try to reconnect, and therefore you reactivate your network. So that is really work that is up to you to do, is to activate your existing network.
It asks effort.
It does ask a lot of effort, yes.
I also know there is a lot to do about carrying your business cards and handing them out, yes or no. What is your personal opinion on that?
Well, we did used to walk around with business cards. I have my printed business cards, but they're at home. Today we're all online. So what's important is, certainly for a professional environment for your career, is to have a really good LinkedIn account. For your private life, all the other socials are important, but for your professional life, make sure that it's up to date, that your skills are there, that the work that you have done, your interests are very clear so that people can recognize you. Today, your business card is digital and mostly it's going to be on LinkedIn.
Okay. Would you tell people to go to network events and even join associations?
Of course. I mean, networking starts with building networks within associations. So you're part of a student group or a friend group or special interest in history or whatever. So join these groups. But even important and maybe not so natural is join groups that are not directly of your interest, where you learn to meet new people with new insights. And therefore you can be a connector to these different networks. It will be beneficial for yourself, but also for your networks, because through yourself, by being a connector, information flows over these different networks.
Okay. And if I go to, let's say, a network event, are there any predetermined opening lines that we know work?
I have no predetermined opening lines to give you here. I think you should be yourself and authentic. What always works is that you relate your opening statement to the topic of the event. Ask the other person, what did you think of it? What was your learning? And therefore you kind of open a conversation on the topic of that event. That always works. Also remember, when you're talking to someone else, that at a certain moment in time, you have to introduce yourself. So think about your elevator pitch, which is a short sentence, very powerful, to say who you are and what your interests are. And so use that during the conversation to make sure what kind of person you are to the other person.
Okay, it's very interesting that you say that, because we have another Kickskill video learning on pitching and on the elevator pitch. So if you haven't seen that one yet, please check it out. Now, Erwin, what if I don't have the courage to network?
Well, that's a good question. And I think importantly, we don't all have the same courage to network. I think we should understand that. But think of it, what is the worst thing that could happen? The worst thing is that people may not want to talk to you or not long enough. But in general, what you will see once you start networking and connecting with people, that most people are really open to talk to you, to listen to what you have to say. So I would say just go for it. Try to develop these relationships. And don't stay in your own circles all the time, but also try to step out of these circles and see what you can gain outside. So I would say just go for it. I think that's the best advice that I can give at this time.
Amazing. And those tips have been very practical. Thank you so much, Erwin.
You're welcome.